I'm coming at you looking semi-insane because I'm doing a separate video testing out all of the Makeup Revolution icon palettes, so stay tuned for that. But today I did want to do a sort of comparison of the twoest new skin tints from the drugstore, the Nyx Buttermelt Glaze SPF skin tint and the L'Oreal Lumi skin tint. So we're going to do one on one side and one on the other. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely keep on watching and let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so on the right side, let's do the Nyx Buttermelt Glaze Soft Glow skin tint. I have the shade Vanilla Bean, I believe. Yeah, 02 Vanilla Bean. So the Nyx comes with a squeezy tube package, just like the L'Oreal. It has sunscreen broad spectrum SPF 30. You get 1.01 fluid ounces. And this is a 93% skincare formula with niacinamide, mango, and shea butter. So I'm gonna pump like that much out. Not pump, squeeze. The consistency is definitely thinner and a little bit runny, but not super, super watery. It feels a little bit creamy, almost like butter. So the name is pretty suiting. And I'm just going to dot a bit around. And I'm actually going to work this into the skin with my fingers. Okay, so I worked that little bit into my skin and you can see, I think it has very sheer coverage. It's a skin tint, but it does even out the skin slightly. This is my side without foundation, just au naturel. And here it is with the skin tint. And I do think it adds just a little bit of color, not much coverage, but a little bit. So let's see if we can just add a little bit more, especially on my nose. And the first time that I tried this, I'll tell you my first impressions. I really enjoyed it. I found that it had sheer to light coverage, maybe high light coverage maximum. It wore really well, but I would say it's not the most long wearing thing ever. Probably about 5-6 hours maximum, and then it starts to break down throughout the day. But the way that it looks on the skin, it really just melts into the skin. You can't see it sitting on top. It gives you hydration, but it doesn't feel overly greasy or oily, and it doesn't have any sparkle or pearlescence to it. I really enjoyed how it looked on my skin, how it wore. I thought it was really pretty. So here is the NYX Buttermelt Glaze skin tint. The glowiness that you see is from the actual hydration of the product. I will say if you have extremely oily skin, this might not be ideal for you. But like I said, I don't find it to be oily or greasy, but I do have more dry, dehydrated skin. So that could be a factor in why I don't feel like it's overly greasy on me. But yeah, I just think it's really pretty. I think it'd be perfect for everyday, no frills running errands. So let's go ahead and try the L'Oreal on this side. So the L'Oreal Lumi Le Glow tint, I have the shade 120 Neutral Light. This one claims to be a lightweight fluid tint that glows like an illuminator and covers like a foundation. Seamlessly even skin tone and blurs imperfections for a breathable second skin finish. Light diffusing pearls, 82% hydrating serum base, reveal a radiant hydro-powered glow. This one, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's very watery. Comes in the squeezy tube, but this squeezy tube has a pump. So I like the packaging of both. I think they're really lightweight, easy for travel, convenient. The texture of the L'Oreal is much more watery, much more liquidy than the NYX. So same thing, I'm just going to spread it out and blend it in with my fingertips. And I'll tell you my first impressions of this. I did not get to do a full wear test with the L'Oreal, but I did apply it and wore it for a couple hours. And my first impressions were that one, it has not much more coverage, but it has more coverage than the NYX. Definitely, I would say light coverage. It's more glowy, I think, and glowy in the sense that it has pearlescent particles in it. It has those light diffusing pearls, whereas the NYX is just glowy based off of the ingredients and the hydration. I think the L'Oreal sets down more, so if you have more combo oily skin, this might work for you a little bit better. However, I did find that this L'Oreal skin tint does not blend into the skin as seamlessly as the NYX, at least not the first time I tried it. I did use a brush the first time applying it, and I just felt like it was sitting on top of my skin and looking a little bit heavy, especially on my forehead. I did use 2 pumps the first time I applied it, so I'm trying to go in with a little bit less this time, and I'm hoping that using my fingers will work the product into my skin a bit better, because I did see it sitting on top of my skin. It didn't feel heavy at all. It feels very, very lightweight. It just looked a bit heavy, and it also sank into my smile lines and my forehead lines rather quickly, and it did emphasize any texture or pores that I had. That's very typical for a highlighting glowy product. If it has an illuminator in it, it's going to illuminate everything, including pores and all those things. So just something to keep in mind. I actually like how it looks from a distance. I think it looks really, really pretty. It reminds me a lot of the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Glow Flawless Filter, but with a little bit more coverage, obviously. I think they both feel really nice, very lightweight. Obviously, they're both skin tints, so you're not gonna get a full glam moment, but let's look up close. So here's the L'Oreal. I think you can see that pearlescence, especially there on my forehead. Coverage wise, both sides look very similar. To me, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on camera. My pores here are definitely emphasized more than on the NYX side, I feel. I also feel like on my forehead, I can see the L'Oreal Skin Tint sitting on top of my skin just a little bit more. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Let me see. So there's the NYX. And there's the L'Oreal. I just feel like it's not absorbing or like blending into my skin as well. And there's the pores. So yeah, those are the first impressions. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup. I'll check back in with you guys when I'm all done, let you know how everything applied and all that jazz, and then we'll do a wear test. Okay, so I finished applying the rest of my makeup. Everything applied without difficulty over top of the skin tints. I did go ahead and set my face with powder just because I normally would do that to get the most longevity out of a product like this. I went in with my Moira Set and Correct finishing powder under my eyes and in my T-zone, and then my e.l.f. Halo Glow powder on the rest of my face. I did not go in with a setting spray, so we're going to see how long this wears. It is currently, can you see that? 2:27. So I'll wear this at least for 8 hours, and then we'll check in at the end of the day and I'll let you know my thoughts, my observations, how it wore. Right off the bat, right now, even after setting, I do feel like this area is a little bit more textured than I would like. I feel like it looks a little smoother on the NYX side, and I do still feel like the L'Oreal Skin Tint is sitting on top of the skin over here. So yeah, I will go about my day and I'll check in with you guys later. Okay friends, it is, can you see that? Pretty much 11 o'clock, 10:57 p.m. So I've been wearing these skin tints for about 8.5 hours now, and pretty much everything that I said earlier stands true. I feel like overall they wore like you would expect a skin tint to wear. Definitely some of the coverage around my nose has worn off, maybe some around my chin. But like I was saying earlier, I feel like the L'Oreal Skin Tint just never fully sank into my skin. I don't know if you will be able to tell, but it just looks like it's sitting on top of the skin. And also all day I noticed that the pores on this side just looked a little bit more pronounced than on this side. I also asked my husband which side he thought looked better, what were his thoughts, and he did say that he thought this side with the L'Oreal Skin Tint looked a little bit heavier, like he could tell I had more makeup on that side. Now earlier I said that I felt like the coverage was very similar between the two, but as I was looking back on the footage, I felt like the coverage on the L'Oreal side looked just a smidge higher than on the NYX side. So that is something to keep in mind. What are my final thoughts? Overall, I can't give you definitive final thoughts. I'm gonna have to keep testing them. But overall, if I had to pick one, to use to keep, it would be the NYX Buttermelt Glaze Skin Tint. I just think that this one looks more seamless, more skin-like, more undetectable. I think this looks so natural, sheer to light coverage, wears decently 5 to 6 hours, and it just literally looks like skin. While I enjoy the pearlescent glowy finish of the L'Oreal, I do feel like it's a little bit more apparent on the skin, and for a skin tint, I really don't want that to be the case. Sometimes I'll let that slide for a full coverage foundation. If you can see it sitting on top of the skin, it's like, okay, but it's giving you full coverage. This is not giving you full coverage. It's giving you highlight coverage at best, and still looks a bit heavy, so I will try this as a mix-in because I do feel like it could be valuable, usable in that way. I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you were curious about any of these skin tints, if you have tried any, if you've picked any up. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. I'm going to sleep. Goodbye.